kind of a cool process for reloading. But
Awesome,
people that are
awesome.
really into it, I don't have the time or space to do it right now, or I would start doing that too.
Justin, welcome.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, man?
Hey, thank you. Doing well, Mark. Good to see you. What's up,
You
Joe?
too.
Chilling, chilling. Mark's drinking a Bohemian Lager from Tombstone.
Nice.
And it's
I
quite
love
delicious.
I love all those old school lagers.
Oh,
I'm
dude,
an old school kind of guy.
they're coming back, man.
I
Oh,
honestly
for
don't
sure.
discriminate.
No.
I don't discriminate against beer. So
You haven't
I think
had
Joe
a
probably does,
Hefeweizen.
though.
You haven't had Hefeweizen yet.
you know, I God, that's familiar. I may have had one of those at some point.
Oh yeah,
I think
tastes like
so.
banana bread, but that's gone bad.
Oh, so it's not. So you're saying it's not good?
It's not one of the most popular styles, I would say.
Yeah.
There are some breweries out there that'll make them, and they'll once in a while they'll make them really good. But it's
hmm
something that you don't see that often, as far as like, ooh, I got to get this Hefeweizen because I heard it was super tasty.
Right.
No, not usually.
But the lagers, the IPAs, I think I sent you a few IPAs as well. Um,
Yep.
Stouts obviously are the three of the popular brand styles. Excuse me. But yeah, man.
I like them all.
All right.
Stouts and lagers particularly.
Lagers, I'm telling you. So IPAs, before we start recording, IPAs for a long time have been pretty much the king, and like all the beer scene, everybody goes crazy of when the next IPA release is going to come out and everything else. But slowly, lagers and pilsners are making a creep. I think I sent you a Big Spill Pils.
Yep, you did send me one of those.
That
That I remember
one,
seeing.
that one I would recommend drinking. Maybe not. I mean, next or whenever you want. But that one's a really good, tasty pilsner.
Well, that will probably be the next one this evening. But it's upstairs in my outside. It's in my gym fridge, so I've got to
Nice.
sip on this gingerly until we're done.
All right, so let me
Yeah,
hit it off.
pilsners are about my favorite style. I love a good pilsner.
We can go
Not
on
at
for
all.
like an entire pod about talking about our favorite styles.
Sure.
All right, so let me get it started. So we are once again Max Allotment Podcast. Have two special guests today: Justin Cross, owner and founder of Earn Your Booze; Mark Briggs. You've seen him in P90X Plus, P90X2, P90X3. I don't know, 22. Oh, the 22-minute hardcore, or
You
is it
got it.
hardcore? Is what
Yep.
it's called?
Yep. You
Uh,
got it.
and he's been around the world with Tony Horton, the founder of creator of P90X. Excuse me. He's helped out other people get fit, get into shape. When I first started getting into shape and working out, I was heavy into P90X, and then I ran into Mark Briggs. I kind of liked his styles. He adapted P90X in different ways. Started doing some MMA training, which I love doing as well. And we just kind of hit it off, became good friends, and we've been in contact here and there. We got a workout in about 8 years ago, I believe it was, in Connecticut.
Yeah, man.
So here we are, guys. How you doing, Justin?
Doing well, man. Doing really well. Thank you. Had an awesome workout this morning up at Power and Motion CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
And I just grabbed a couple Goldwater beers here for the podcast.
Nice. What'd you get?
One of my favorites, Hop Chowder. Can't go wrong with that.
Ooh.
And I'm going to crack open the new one, Timbo Slice Mango Hazy IPA.
The name alone has volumes of goodness to it, man.
That's what I said, and I know the guy Tim. I was like, oh my God, this is like, how much did you have to pay to get yourself a Timbo Slice version of yourself beer? How cool is that?
That's
You know
pretty
what?
badass.
As soon as I found out as soon as I saw the label of it, I DM'd him directly, and I said, "I'm not buying a beer with your picture on it. That's not going to happen." And so he started laughing. And I told him, I said, when I get to the brewery, I'm going to ask them for a non-labeled beer. And I did. And they said, no, they don't have any. I said, let me go to the Crowlers. Like, no, I can't do that either. I'm like, damn it. All right, I'll take a 4-pack.
Got to protect that brand, man.
No, he's a good dude. Congratulations to Tim. He just found out he's having a baby soon.
Very
Nine
cool.
months.
Cool.
Yeah. So shout out to him.
Outstanding.
That's
So
awesome.
how you doing, Mark? What's going on with you? What's new with you?
I'm doing great, man. That's dealing with this COVID lockdown, frustrating nonsense like everybody else around the planet is, and really doing my best to keep on a routine, and it's going well. It's, in all honesty, things didn't change a whole ton for me. I was already working from home. What had cut down, I love training, and you know that I travel all over the country still training prior to COVID, and I'm looking forward to getting back to that fact, I'll be down in South Carolina next week. South Carolina's open back up, and I'm going back to work. So
Nice.
yeah, I'll be down there for a week for the tactical games, which is kind of like CrossFit meets combat. Very cool, fun stuff. Perfect place to have a couple adult beverages after you're done for the day, and all the guns are put away. But it's a good time, man. It is absolutely one of my favorite things. It's you're working out, you're shooting with an elevated heart rate, and it's challenging. It's fun. You meet all kinds of cool people from all over the country, all over the world. Actually, there's people that come in from Europe and other nations to compete, and it's a good time.
Well, I wanted to get into that a little later.
Sure.
But first and foremost, you're drinking a Tombstone
I am.
Bohemian Lager from Tombstone Brewery in Tombstone, Arizona.
Very good.
What are your thoughts on that?
I like it, man. I've never had one before. My youngest daughter lives out in Phoenix, and she actually works at a bar. She's a bartender part-time, and she had turned me on to some tasty brews when I was out there, and I'm like, man, I wish this stuff you could get everywhere because it's damn good beer.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I know you have the other box. You have the box, and you have the other stuff in there. So hopefully you get a chance to taste that and share your thoughts on that as
man.
well.
Thanks. Thank you for sharing the goodie bag with me. That's awesome. Very cool.
Good beer is for sharing. If you can't share good beer, then you're doing it wrong.
That's a good way to look at it. For sure, man.
So what's funny is that Justin said he has a hop chowder, and it's spelled just the way it sounds, hop chowder, and a label looks just like the Campbell soup. And being that you're from Massachusetts, right, Mark?
Originally, yes. I was a masshole, and I transplanted out to Illinois back in 1990. But yeah, the chowder, you get in the car and park by the harbor and have a beer and eat your chowder. And don't be a chowder head. Those were the biggest things.
Oh, man. What's funny is that living out here, I would say still to this day, actually, but the first 2 years, my East Coast New York accent was very strong. And people would pick up on it immediately and just kind of like, what the hell are you saying? What's going on? And so it's so crazy. Like, so when I run into other people and they have their deep accents and everything else, I connect with them immediately. Doesn't matter where you're from anymore. It's like, most people from Arizona don't really have an accent, but everybody else, because we're transplants as well, we have accents and people just kind of pick up on that. And I'm like, oh, thank God I can communicate with somebody that understands me and not have to explain what I said 5 times because they don't understand what the hell I'm talking about.
Sure. Yeah, I can relate. I go back out there and I'll be in Mass for a couple of days and I'll pick it right back up.
Nice.
It's entertaining. You can turn it on and off. So
what's funny is that my girlfriend says that a lot when I talk to my family back east. She says like the moment you get on the phone with them, immediately it comes out. Oh yeah. And I'm like, I didn't even realize it.
I am very fluent in Bostonian.
So are you still heavy into I don't know. I follow you a lot, but you've kind of like in it, but not in it as far as the Beachbody.
I still do Beachbody. I'm still coaching. I still connect people with programs that they like. But for me personally, I've stepped more into following my own programming and designing it as well. I'd worked for a sandbag company out of Colorado for a couple of years, designing programming for them and actually traveling around training different police departments in areas within the military for stress shooting or elevated heart rate shooting. And we use the sandbags to elevate the heart rate, which best replicates what honestly happens to you when you're in a gunfight. You go from sitting at a resting heart rate that's maybe in the 60s, and all of a sudden you spike to 170, 180, lose fine motor skills. So my mission is to get people functionally operational with clarity to be able to have cognitive function when they're tacked out and be able to shoot the bad guys if, God forbid, they find themselves in that place and come out on top and not end up on the losing side of that fight. So that's
that's
kind of been my focus.
If you ever have to deploy a firearm or a weapon or whatever, it's not going to be at the range at a stationary target, right? There's probably a very stressful situation happening. So if you don't train under that, your target practice might not matter.
I can assure you that's accurate. I've had a couple, and that was a big part of what drove me. Before Beachbody and P90X, I was a cop for a whole lot of years. I did 18 years in my career before I retired. Awesome. 8 years in SWAT, 2 years in narcotics, and all of the rest of it with SWAT and patrol combined. So it's an interesting job, I'll say that. I'm
No
glad to
doubt.
not be doing it, but I'm extremely thankful for those that still do.
Awesome.
And that's my way of giving back to that community. If I can give somebody some nugget that keeps them from ending up in a pine box, then I'm doing my job.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
So
Yeah.
Justin, we've talked. Mark and I have just talked right now about a lot about Beachbody workouts, P90X. There's Insanity and a few others. And you're big into fitness. Have you ever dabbled with the P90X or the Beachbody stuff?
Oh yeah, man. I used to have the I don't know if it was like version 1 or 2, but all the DVD sets. We used to pop. I don't even have a DVD player anymore, but I've ran through them all. Yeah, for sure. P90X. I haven't done Insanity. I'm very familiar with it, but I definitely have run the P90X a couple dozen times through every DVD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And one of my buddies here is Kenyatta Banks. He does something called Arsenal, and it was kind of like his version of a P90X. Which that kind of training, obviously, over the past 2 months,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's money right there. Most gyms are closed. People don't necessarily want to go outside and jog or run. So if you can do something as effective as P90X or Insanity at your house, I mean, it's killer. So yeah, I was glad to already be familiar with that because I've been doing a good amount of body weight stuff over the past couple months.
Oh yeah. So what was your least favorite P90X workout?
Oh man. Oh,
Yoga.
I mean, back then, yeah. I was gonna say the plyometric stuff.
Damn it, Mark! I wanted to hear him say it so we could all agree.
Yeah. Because especially back then when I did it, like I was like a typical just like gym bro, chest day, arm day, back day. So I had zero good like flexibility. There was no, jumping lunges or anything like that. So that was the stuff that really beat me up bad. I can handle it now, but when I was really going through it, I was like, is this people really do this shit? What is going on? It's tough.
You know what's funny? You say you can handle it now, and I've never, as long as I've done P90X, I've never quote unquote gotten used to it. And
Yeah.
it's one of those workouts that I don't. I mean, I've seen a ton of people work out to it. I've helped other people work out to it and everything else. And it's such a, as far as the plyo specifically, excuse me, not just the whole P90X workout, but the plyo. It just kicks your ass every single time, man. It's like there's not one time that it doesn't beat you up.
Yep. Well, the reason for that, I mean, obviously, you control the pace, right? So you can always go faster. You can always go harder. You can cut out the breaks, and then you can make it as intense, or you can make it as laid back as you really want to as well, depending on what you're doing. You can take the plyo out of it and make it a step or a squat without that impact. As I've gotten older, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do that. I usually watch the knees a lot. If I'm feeling really good and there's no clicking or any weird shit going on, then sure I'll jump around more. But a lot of the times it just turns into like a reverse step lunge or something.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I was going to say too. I'm 50 now, and my I've got some injuries I've carried with me from years younger. I call them sins of the past, where we do things and we think we're bulletproof, and then we get broken, and we keep doing things and we get broken, and then you get older, and it's like, well, great, that's what osteoarthritis is. So I can if I do plyo, I can jump up onto boxes, but I have to stair step down. If I jump down, I can't walk for 2 days when I get done. So you got to learn to modify so you can keep driving on.
I'm going to share a fail that I recently did. Not recently, about a year and a half ago, give or take. I'm heavy into jump rope. I love jumping rope. I love, it's one of my favorite cardio workouts. And so my sneakers have gotten to the point where the front part is pretty much smooth. So I'm wearing these sneakers and I'm doing a box jump on top of my giant tire. And I didn't realize that my sneakers were that bad until I slipped, busted my ass, fell backwards. And so, yeah, it's just injuries in workout are just always like, it's always, everybody always has a story about how they hurt themselves, but it's like, you laugh at it now, but back then you're like, fuck, that was a stupid idea. Like, why did I do that?
But you never do it again.
Not with those sneakers, no. Or you
So
modify, like you said.
I had an Armenian neighbor growing up, and when I was 5 years old, he told me something, and it stuck with me for the rest of my life. And he said, a jackass doesn't even fall in the same hole twice. I mean, this was an old school, old country Armenian guy that grew up in the desert, and and I don't know why it stuck with me, but I'm like, oh yeah, you got to learn from your mistakes so you don't do the stupid things over again.
Hell
And
yeah.
it stuck.
Hell
It's
yeah.
great advice, and I always try to impart that to everybody.
So you talked about adding more firearm training and the elevated heart rate, the combining the two.
Hmm.
How do you prepare for that? Like I don't like I would know where to start. Like I can tell somebody
Yeah,
how to work out for their fitness goals. I can tell somebody like, hey, if you want to build this, you do these workouts and X, Y, Z. Um,
sure.
like how do you combine the two? Like how does that
So
work?
for me, it came from my background. I said I was a cop for 18 years, and then I was almost 10 years in the fitness industry before I decided to kind of re-involve the two.
Mm-hmm.
After I retired, it was a few years before I even touched a firearm again. I just kind of had lost the drive for it, and it was actually hunting that brought me back into the wheelhouse. And now I actually go shoot to relax. Like if I'm really having a bad day,
Mm.
I go shoot because you can't be in your head and be able to shoot. But integrating it with fitness, I've been a certified trainer in MMA conditioning, personal training, group fitness instruction, tactical strength and conditioning. So it was drawing on those backgrounds, and then my background in both the military and in law enforcement as being a firearms instructor as well.
Mm.
Just combining things that would work and kind of coming up with fun drills. And I'll tell you what, Joe, you would absolutely love one of these workouts.
Mm.
In my garage, I have an NLT cert pistol, so it looks like a Glock. It's a red pistol. I've got an RMR on it, so it's an optic because part of getting old, your eyes go to shit as well. And I will set up different drills with that. You can change the magazines. It's the exact same size and weight as a Glock. The magazines are the same weight as a loaded magazine in a Glock. So it makes it a very realistic training tool, but instead of going bang, it fires a laser when you pull the trigger.
Mm.
You can connect to their software through a computer. It'll track your break times, your impact, your time to pull the trigger, your time going from the holster to your shots to back in the holster. I mean, it tracks everything with the software. So now it's just a matter of what can we come up with that's going to be fun. So a typical circuit I might do with a handful of people, we'll grab a sandbag with maybe 50, 55 pounds in it.
Mm.
We'll do 5 hang cleans, drop it, run 20 yards, flip a 500-pound tractor tire 5 times, pick up a set of farmer carry handles with 90 pounds per hand, run another 40 yards, come back, pick up a 20-pound mace, beat the tire 10 times each, run back in, do 5 back squats with the sandbag, drop it, then pick up that pistol, load a magazine in, shoot 10 rounds on the bob bag, reload, throw another 10 rounds downrange, and then the exercise stops and you get your break and the next person goes. So you're jacked way, way up, and then it'll be 3 or 4 minutes and you'll go again, and we'll do that for an hour, hour and a half, depending
Dude,
on how many people we have.
dude, my heart rate is racing just hearing you talking about
It's fun. And here's the other thing. So,
like
I
I'm
can
already I'm
relate to
already
this.
getting like you told the sandbags, the farmers walks, everything else, and then you're gonna shoot a gun after all that shit. And it's like,
Yeah.
damn, like
Yeah.
I'm already like sweating thinking about it and shit. Like, oh my god, can
Oh,
I
yeah.
focus? Can
Yeah.
I hold the gun? Will I be trembling? All that good stuff.
Well, up until November of last year, the better part of 2 years prior, I was doing strongman stuff. So cardio to me then was lifting heavy shit faster.
Mm-hmm.
I literally had like no cardio, but I could deadlift a car 22, 24 times. I could put a 300-pound Atlas stone over a 48-inch yoke. And it was cool. I enjoyed it and I had fun, but you got to come back to looking at things. I kind of decided once I hit 50, I was going to go back to functional fitness. I have a long family history of heart disease.
Mm.
And, it was just time to get lean. So I cut a bunch of weight, changed my diet. Everything lifting is 25 to 35 reps per set.
Mm.
And I do legit cardio, like 45 minutes to 90 minutes, 3 days a week. And then I lift on the other 3 days. Friday, I'm going on a 12-mile ruck march with a 40-pound ruck, just to honor the 22 that commit suicide with the military. So just to kind of raise awareness.
Justin,
And
you talked about that before, right? With the when you guys were drinking in the military, and then you had to go running afterwards, like after drinking all night, and then going for a quick run for a 6 mile run, whatever it was. Uh, after he
and
just described,
vomiting.
after he would,
I've done a few of those in my day.
after what Mark just said, what's going through your mind right now?
Well, I mean, that's basically that's how my Navy career went. in a nutshell. It was too much drinking the night before and then still having to put up with everything you put up, when you go to work. But really, that's kind of led into, the intention of my whole business is earn your booze. We want people that drink to actually think about their bodies, take care of their bodies, lower your toxicity, make room for things like fun food and fun drinks and stuff like that. And it really all started for me in the Navy. So I totally agree with what you're saying. There's a lot of physical things to consider when you're drinking a lot of mental things to consider. And especially if you're in, military first responders, and you have to keep that physical thing, at the front of mind. It's just, to me, there's no other way to live. Like, you got to take care of your mind and your body, especially if you're putting fun, toxic things in it,
For sure. I really try to get people that are in the military as well as first responders to think of themselves as tactical athletes, because that's really what they are.
Yeah.
I mean, you have professional athletes that get paid and they get to train all the time, but you look at our first responders and they have extremely stressful jobs, and exercise is obviously a great way to cut stress and deal with stress.
Right.
But by the same token, life is way too short to be so rigid that you don't enjoy the good things in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I had spent a few years on that plane too, where I wouldn't eat anything that was nasty, and I was so rigid and strict. I was 3% body fat and 170 pounds.
I remember those days.
Yeah, Joe knew me in that time, and in ways looking back, it kind of sucked, because it's like, man, that cake looks pretty good, but I'm not going to eat it, and now I'm like, oh, fuck it, I should have ate the cake. So it's like now, like, I work my ass off, I train my ass off, because I fully expect at some point I'm going to get pulled back into the realm of things, and I'm going to be ready for it, but I'm not going to be so rigid that I'm not enjoying life, because tomorrow is no promise ever. So
that's right.
You've got to find the balance for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you said it really well.
Agreed, 100%. Great job. So, how much of P90X is still current in your workouts? I know it's a big part of your life. I've met you through P90X. When I used to do P90X, and I loved it. I moved away from the program. I now do kind of like a lot of my stuff that's incorporates a lot of the mentality and the process of what P90X is about. It's ingrained in my system. I can't break it. Even when I was lifting heavier, it's like, I was doing Body Beast, which is the bodybuilding program from Beachbody, and even then I'm like, oh man, I should be doing some pull-ups right now, or I should be, maybe I should just do some squat jumps or something like that, some squat jacks. So how much is that current in your current system? How much is that something that in your mind that you just, as you're writing your routines, comes out?
A lot of my weightlifting structure still goes back to Tony. I try and do 24 to 26 sets, and that's it in whatever workout that I'm doing with weightlifting. And to give credit where it's due, Tony took a lot of his time and energy and invested it in me. He was hands down my mentor. I wouldn't be where I am at all doing fitness things that I'm doing if it was not for him being the catalyst that really lit the fire in me. And we still keep in touch. He's 61 years old and he's still getting after it, and I have no doubt in my mind that he can still crush me in pull-ups. I'll still crush him on the mat, but that's kind of been that way since day one. That's
what
not
matters.
his thing. But I have nothing but the utmost respect for Tony, and I do incorporate a lot of his thought. He taught me how to be a trainer. Way back when I've led group workouts all over the place. I've been up in front of crowds of 25,000 people, and it always resonated with me, Tony's words of, this is their workout, not yours. Because I think a lot of new people, when they start to train, their thought is, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get my workout in while I'm doing this. And he says, you can't do both. You're up there for them. You have to pay attention to them. You have to cue them. You have to keep them engaged. And he's the one that taught me all of that stuff. So any workout that I design, I always try and keep his teachings in mind. And so in that aspect, it's still very much there. I've moved into a lot of different things, like you've noticed, and I still mix it up. I think that's the key to really keeping things fun. Like Friday leg day, for example, it used to be more traditional lifts with squats and that type of stuff. Now it's more tire flips, overhead keg throws, farmer carries, walking lunges. and then of course throwing in some sandbag stuff. We take a big sandbag full of sand and rocks and that kind of thing. There's a company called Brute Force. That's who I used to work for in Colorado. They make a brute ball. So I had those in 100 pounds, 125 pounds, 150 pounds, and 300-pound weights. So if you want some fun, one day I decided, you know what? I want to see how many times I can consecutively flip the 500-pound tire at the end of my leg day workout.
Oof.
And that number was 40.
Wow.
And then I laid on the ground on the pavement, and I couldn't get off the ground for about 15 minutes. You know what I needed? I needed some of this.
You needed a little
some of
motivation.
that, like
There you
with a
go.
long crazy straw that went around in my mouth, and I could have just drank that. I just have them replaced all day, and I would have stayed there for an hour. I'd have been golden. But so it's
people forget
always,
how good beer is for workouts.
I don't know what it is, man. So I live in Central Illinois, so we have all the seasons out here, which suck. But summertime, it's like you get done mowing the lawn, there's nothing better than a beer, and you get done with an ass-kicking workout, there's nothing better than a nice cold beer, man.
That's right.
So it's the best of both worlds.
So,
for sure.
Justin, Mark talked a little bit about training groups. What are some of the challenges you experience when you're training large groups or just groups in general?
Yeah, we do a lot of that with Earn Your Booze, and I think probably the biggest challenge is we don't just want to be another fitness group workout. We have a very unique company, right? We talk and fully acknowledge that people do like to drink. So our challenge that we embrace is really we make our workouts. We like to say they're dripping with booze, right? So our trainers essentially are. We get some top of the line trainers. We have people from F45, from Orange Theory, from all over the place that are very versed in doing that. And our challenge then is to get them to really get on board with like our liquor sponsors, for example, for the day, and rename everything to have something to do with booze. We do ask them to have occasionally like a shot or a couple drinks on stage. So we put on like a show, and so we don't let the people in the audience that are doing that. We don't let them do that. But so we're kind of like like a professional workout. Like you're gonna get your butt kicked. It's a great workout for sure, but it's also entertaining. It's a show. It's really different, right? So that's our challenge there, is to really show put on a show and also not come across as gimmicky, right? So I think we finally become really good at that. We have some great people on our team. Our director of fitness, he totally gets it. So we have a lot of fun with that, and we get a lot of feedback. We're like, oh my god, I can't believe I made it through that workout. Oh, but these cocktails that were available afterwards just kind of made my day, kind of like Mark said, So it all comes together.
Where have you been all my life? That sounds like an awesome place to work, bro.
It's a great time, man. We'll be traveling a lot. We've gone out. I'm in Phoenix, and we've traveled out to Denver and Miami, a couple other little spots. This year we were supposed to do New York, Miami, New Orleans, Mexico, Chicago, and so far all of that has kind of been put on the shelf, obviously. So we'll come up to your neck of the woods here before too long.
Well, I will pay attention when you are, and I'll make the drive. I'm about 2.5 hours from Chicago, so wouldn't be a bad commute at all. Or maybe I should take the train up, and then I don't have to worry about driving back home afterwards.
Now you got it.
That's exactly right. That was a fun part about living back east.
Yeah, right? Everything was right there.
Yeah, man. And you just take the train, take the Metro North. I go to New York, go to city, drink as much as I want, hang out, take the train back to Connecticut, call it a day.
Nice.
So, Justin, we talked a little bit about combat training earlier, Mark and I. How much of that is incorporated into what you do?
Recently, not very much, but throughout my Navy career and for many years afterwards, boxing was my thing, especially just heavy bag on my own. I would, especially on like an upper body day, I would love to just go like he did the 40 tire flips and couldn't move. I love to just wear myself out on that heavy bag, even when it comes down to it, almost just kind of like, doing like an ab flex with your arms down at your waist almost. I love to completely wear out on the bag. I love it. For me, there's nothing that really gets, aggression or just really gets me past that physical point of what the fuck am I doing? I just love I love boxing. I just love that. So I have yet to get into like grappling or jujitsu or anything like that. So that's probably next on my list. From what I understand, I'm going to get addicted and probably turn into nothing but a jujitsu guy. So I'm kind of avoiding it a little bit.
Nah, you'll still stick to it. My background when I was a kid, I was into boxing too. And like you, man, it's just something about that primal violence of if you're having a bad day and you just unass everything that you've been carrying for that day or whatever's weighing on you, and you just put it in that bag, dude. I feel you there. I'm the oldest white belt in my jujitsu class, and so far I'm really good at tapping and napping. I've got that down. It's like, I get my ass kicked by 16-year-old kids that are $150 and I'm, 220.
That's awesome.
But I'm also part of the cool thing about being old is I don't give a fuck anymore. So my ego left me a long time ago. So it's cool, man. I love learning new stuff, and it's, and it's a cool concept. You think about it, and we all have things that we're good at, but everybody goes into jujitsu, and because they watch UFC, they think they know how to do it, and it's
it's a whole other animal.
It's you wouldn't walk on the court with MJ and think that you're going to take him in basketball, and there's no reason to think you should step on the mat and think that you're going to do well. It's a big, long learning experience. That's why it takes 10 years to get a black belt in jiu-jitsu. There's a lot to learn.
Did you guys know that just since we're talking about jiu-jitsu a lot, and Mark, you mentioned that you're the oldest white belt. Ed O'Neill from Married with Children, Al Bundy. He's a black belt. He's a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
He's a Gracie black belt. Yep.
Really?
So that was legit, man. That was one of those things where it's like you see him and you're like, oh shit, like he's really a Gracie black belt, when it was just like one of the most prestigious black belts you could ever get.
Talk about badass actors, dude. Look at Keanu Reeves, right?
Oh man,
he's got legit shooting skills. He's got legit jiu-jitsu. He's all around. And from all, I've never met the guy. I would love to, because everybody I've talked to that's met him, they said he's just the coolest dude out there. Real down to earth, just super nice guy.
Loves guns, and he's Canadian.
Hey,
go figure.
Exactly, right? I didn't know. Listen, there's a lot of actors I didn't know were Canadian until I moved to Arizona. I don't know what it is about Arizona and Canadians, but they bring a lot of information to light. So,
and when they do something wrong, they say sorry.
So, we talked a lot about drinking and working out. Mark, you mentioned that for a long time you kind of shied away from the booze because you were focused on your being pure, quote unquote. I'm not gonna lie, when I first started P90X, that was kind of like my mentality. There was a bit of I don't want to say shame, but it was almost like, you know what, I can't let my P90X friends know that I'm drinking beer, or I can't let my P90X friends know I got wasted the other night and fucking passed out. So
yeah.
With people going into fitness and going into the summer bodies, assuming things open up, what would be your best tips for balancing the two? I know moderation seems like a cliche thing, but how would you give that feedback?
Well, so the first thing I'd ask them would be ultimately, what is their goal? You can get extremely fit and conditioned and have a shitty diet. I mean, look at Roy Nelson, who's fought for years in UFC, right? But
I love how he's a poster child. I love that.
You look at him and you're like, who is this fat fuck and what's he doing in the cage? And then you watch the dude fight for 5 fucking rounds and you're like, holy shit. I mean, he's super conditioned, but he looks the way he does because of what he puts in his mouth. So if you're after the aesthetic and you want to have a 6-pack and be ripped, the honest truth is you've got to lower your carbs, increase your protein, and keep your fat moderate. And you've got to stick to that. So like, I'm a big macro guy. I'm not into the percentages. When I wanted to cut weight, when I shot 22, I was walking around at 230. Tony called me and said, hey, dude, if you want a shot at being in this, you've got to be fit and you're going to actually have to audition for it. And to me, I know being fit means I needed to cut weight. I said, what number do you want me at? And he said, it's not about that. He said, you need to be like Navy SEAL fit. So I switched up what I was doing. I cut out the booze completely. And I went from 230 to 192 pounds in 3 months. just by cleaning up my diet and changing my workouts. I went back to more body weight stuff, light weights, high reps, kind of what I'm doing now. But, now I'm 220 and I'm not going under that because I'm happy where I am. I don't really give a shit what people think about it. And if I've got a little bit of cushion in the middle, then that's so be it. But I've earned it. So it really depends on the individual. I don't sugarcoat things. I'm a nutritionist as well as a trainer. So I know exactly what to do to get people where they want to go, but they have to be willing to commit to it. And quite honestly, summertime is hard for a lot of people to do it. Anything you want, you're going to do. If you put your mind to it and you're committed to it, you're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
If you do things half-ass, you're going to get half-ass results. And it doesn't matter what it is in life, whether it's your fitness, whether it's your business, whether it's your relationships, it's all tied into the same kind of mindset. So that's all where it starts. Anybody that I talk to that wants me to train them, I get a very clear understanding and help them get a very clear understanding of what their goals are. And then from there, I connect them with a training modality and nutritional plan that's going to bring them to their goal. And that's really it. I mean, that's kind of an oversimplification because it's work, but you're not going to get anything without putting in the work.
Hell yeah. Justin, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, right now I would say everybody after this COVID thing feels like probably a little less great than they want to, right? Everyone feels a little bit shittier because most people have been forced to stay home or their routines have been upended or whatever, right? So a lot of people have chosen to stay home and just drink their faces off a lot extra, right? So I think coming out of this, a lot of people, most people, I would say.
Honesty.
So I would say everyone coming out of this, they feel like shit because they haven't been able to earn it. They've been forced to stay home. Their gyms are closed and they've been kind of maybe in this kind of depressed state, with the state of the world and everything. So, I think coming out of this, I want people to our goal here, with us is to really let people acknowledge why they feel like this, because you've not been moving, you haven't been taking care of your body, you haven't been hydrating, you haven't been doing a ton of different things, you probably haven't been eating the right way. And one of the things that we're actually starting in July is teaching people what does it really mean to earn your booze. And I'll tell you quickly in a nutshell, if you imagine a beer glass, and if it's all the way full, that glass is your body. If it's all the way full, that is your body's completely full of toxins. Okay. So that's all the things you're not supposed to put in your body. Let's just say all the fun stuff, right? The booze, the donuts, the pizza, the cookies, the maybe the shitty meat from the store, everything that has all the hormones, all the junk that's out there, right? So what we want people to do is, one, move so you can detox and keep your blood flowing. There's a lot of different reasons to move. Eat the right way and reduce that toxicity level in the glass. So when you do decide to grab your IPA or you get going, you smash a pizza on a Friday or whatever, you have that room in that glass to fill up a little bit with the fun stuff. So that's what we really want people. And to me, that's what balance means. It's figuring it's not going overboard, because nobody wants an overflowing glass of even if it's good beer, because it's just getting wasted, right? Yeah. So we want people to find the right, like Mark said, the right way for them to achieve their goals, whatever that is, and figure out how we can reduce other things in their lives so they can still have fun and fill it up with booze and all the fun food.
Amen.
Yeah,
I like that analogy.
I definitely do too. I mean, it's one of the things where you have these conversations where, and I'm pretty sure we've all had people come to us and say, "Hey, how do I work out? How do I get fit? What do I have to do? What do I have to change eating?" And the first thing you do, you tell them, "Eat more vegetables, do this, do that," or whatever it is, and immediately they respond with, "Well, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that." But I think if I'm looking back at my beginning stages of fitness, it's like stop trying to restrict so much and just try to actually recognize what you're taking in. I think that's where a lot of my change came from, where I said, do I really need to eat this, or can I eat this? Do I really want this, or do I want that? Or sometimes I say, hey, listen, I'm gonna have a few beers tonight, so I'm gonna change my diet up for today a little bit and focus more on the beers.
Right.
And it's that self-awareness, I guess that's the best way to put it, that makes a huge difference as to how you make a change. So that was me personally. I don't know if that's something, as Mark, as your nutritionist, and Justin, in your background, I don't know if that's exactly on par, but that's how I saw things, and that's what helped me make my changes.
I think where a lot of people fail, and I see this a lot, is they'll connect with the trainer. You may have somebody that hasn't worked out seriously in a year or longer, and their diet is complete shit. And you say, okay, well, now you're going to eat 100% clean and you're going to work out every day. They're not going to stick with it because, first of all, they're going to be sore as shit. And when you try and cut all that food out that they're used to having, all that comfort food, they have a hard time with that. The other thing that a lot of people don't look at in this is the psychological side of why is it that they're eating all that shit to begin with. So you've got to kind of get to the root of that issue as well. But anytime I put somebody, I'm always trying to be realistic with people. If somebody has 100 pounds to lose, we're looking at a year or more to accomplish that. These crash diets where people are losing 50 pounds in a month and that kind of thing and eating 1,000 calories of liquid a day, it's fucking bullshit because you're not going to be able to stick with it for starters, right? It's going to be miserable. Your life is going to suck if you manage to get through that for a year. So I kind of look at what the biggest triggers are, what their biggest love for their bad foods are, and I let them keep them for a little bit, and we kind of wean some other things out in the background, and we get their body moving, right? So as they start to progress and they start to see results, and maybe they're seeing 2-3 pounds a week coming off the scale, now they're motivated to move forward a little bit at a time, and it's kind of baby stepping with things. I tell people, you didn't get out of shape, you didn't become 100 pounds overweight overnight, and you're not going to become fit overnight. You work out for 2 weeks and you don't see the instant gratification. That's life, bro. You got yourself here. It's up to you to get it out. You're the one that's got to do the work. But it's giving it to them in bite-sized pieces so that they can be successful and reinforcing the victories and also putting your foot in the ass when they need it. You've got to have people be accountable, and you have to get that permission to keep them accountable. And I mean, I'm not a drill sergeant when it comes to dealing with people, but I want to know what's behind the scenes that makes them tick. So when they decide they want to quit or they decide they want to say, fuck it. And we all have those days where you're like, I'm just going to drink all day. Fuck it. You've got to understand that that's part of the process and you have to allow that. If they're going on for 2-3 days doing that, then you got to intervene with them. But making things attainable but challenging is what will bring people to success.
Agreed. And I've been in leadership and management for about 20 years now, and I can tell you that all of that has transitioned into my day-to-day conversations with my employees. And that's something good. That you have to be able to say, okay, what's going to be something you can manage and what's something you can actually get to. What are some actual goals? They call it SMART goals, right?
Right.
But it's right. It's real. SMART goals are something that you have to think about. Yeah, you want this, quote unquote body or whatever it is, but is that something you're going to get this year, this time? And I like the way you said that. You said, I'm going to be real with you. You're not going to get that by July 1st. It's not going to happen. You're going to Miami. Right. You're going to Miami in August. Sorry, bro. It's not going to happen. But let's be real about what can happen.
Well, instead of saying we've got 100 pounds to lose, let's say we're going to lose 15 pounds this first month. And that's an attainable goal. That's a realistic goal. It's still going to be a challenge. But you also have to be willing to reassess your goals. And if you're achieving them too fast, then you need to set a little bit higher bar. But if you're having a really hard time and you're not getting quite where you want to be, then you need to reassess that too. It's okay to regress and progress. You've just got to keep things in check, and you have to keep it real.
So, Mark, I'm going to change speeds for a little bit. Mark and Justin, You both said you guys were, Mark, I know you did the heavy workouts where you were doing the heavy lifting, the super, and then you kind of said, you changed your mindset and you did this, and you posted this picture on Facebook where it was like, this is me a year ago, this is me now.
Yeah.
Where for you, let's start with Justin. Justin, where for you did you go from a gym bro to, hey, listen, this is what functional or actual fitness looks like?
I don't know if there's one defining moment, but I know it kind of started in my head when I dislocated my shoulder doing a behind the neck shoulder press. It was a new day, new gym, new training. Yeah, new day, new training partner, new gym, new everything. And that was my push. I was going to go on stage. I was competing at that time. I think I was 6'2". I was probably about 220 at the time, and I was going to do another. I think I was like, 9 months out, and I was going to do my first show. The very first freaking day, blew my shoulder out. It got stuck in my chest. Had to go. It was just ridiculous. So that was like the first wake up call, because I was like, all right, what am I really doing? Do I need to be really, bend over rowing 350 pounds? Do I need to be doing these things that I to this day are killing my back? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why am I doing this? Like, I really don't want to be a bodybuilder. I don't want to be on stage. I didn't have aspirations to be a strong man, so I was like, all right, what else can I do here that it's like not just going to keep beating me to hell? Even though I was in my 20s, I was just getting injured all the time.
Mm.
And so I think what really kind of finally made me switch that whole mindset was, even in the past couple of years, was I just want to be more functional.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little baby girl. Like Mark said, I want to be able to do things that other people can't do, so I can help other people. If I need to carry a body for a long period of time, if I need to lift some heavy shit to get it out of the way,
Mm-hmm.
like I want to be able to help people and like be more available to do things that need to be done like that. And I feel like when I was training before, just to very strictly lift a heavy deadlift, or those movements weren't really doing that for me.
Yeah.
So now I've been doing, I just started even just a few months ago, I started doing CrossFit, and just those workouts where there's a strength workout combined with a WOD that has like a hit and some more strength, that combined with a couple days of like actual hit workouts and still some like regular weight training,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a whole new animal. Like even just like picking up my little daughter now, I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm going to toss her through the ceiling on accident. Where before I was still very careful lifting with my legs, and it's just interesting. So I guess once I finally felt that functionality really hit,
Mm-hmm.
like the other day, I just dug trenches and holes in my backyard after 6 days in a row of really strenuous workouts, and I was like, oh yeah, no problem. And a couple of years ago, I would have been like, oh, my fucking back, and all this. So I'm just addicted to it now. And I frankly, I like what Mark said earlier. He's old enough where he doesn't give a shit what people think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the stage where I don't give a shit what weight I'm lifting. Like if
Mhm.
I know that I want to get certain reps, I don't care if I'm doing the same weight
Mm-hmm.
as a lady in the gym, or I do not care whatsoever. All I care about is what I feel in my body and where I'm going with my goals. And that is it. Nothing else factors in. I have no ego anymore. And since I've had that, I've less injuries. I'm actually stronger. I'm in
Mm-hmm.
the best shape of my life now, the way I can actually move and look. And it's like, oh, well, what the hell? I was trying so hard to, look a certain way and lift a certain way before, and it wasn't getting me where I want. Now that I don't give a shit, I look better than ever. Like, it's crazy.
So what's funny about that is that when I first started, now I'm gonna take a moment to just reflect on my journey. Um, I started where I had zero muscle whatsoever, right? I've never been a physical workout kind of guy. I've never done any real workouts. And then I think I hit like 27-ish, 28, I want to say. And I said, damn, my kids are here. I want to be able to stay fit for them. I want to be able to grow with them. I need to start working out. Then I got into P90X. I'll be honest, full disclosure, could not do a push up, could not do a pull up. I was the worst shape ever. And, I got physically comfortable where I was. And, that's about the time when I met Mark about a couple years later. I was happy with my physical appearance. I was happy with what I could do. I was doing crazy fucking pull-ups at one point where, those lever pull-ups I still can't do.
Yeah.
I can't stand those goddamn things. Um, damn you, Tony Horton, for that shit. But, I was attempting that, right? And then I would always post my workouts, and people go, "Oh, you're not working out. You're not working out because you're not getting big. You're not getting big." And I'm like, "Well, I got big, and I don't want to be big anymore." But then I did want to get big, so I went to that route where I started lifting heavy. I started, doing the benching. I started doing the squats, the heavy squats. I started doing the heavy deadlifts, and all those other things in between. And it felt great to do that because shit, I'm over here, chest pressing 95-pound dumbbells, one hand each, no problem. But walking up the stairs, I'm winded. I get to my bed and my girlfriend's like, "Why are you breathing so hard?"
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Well, I just came from downstairs. I'm fucking tired."
I missed you. I missed you.
Exactly. And my clothes wouldn't fit the same. I couldn't buy clothes. I couldn't go to the store and buy just regular clothes anymore. I'm looking at, like what can I wear? What can I wear? And I was like, shit. I didn't used to be this way, but if this is the price of what I have to pay, then I want to go back to what I was somewhat. Right? And, I'm not gonna lie. The past couple of years, I've been pushing at it, and I'm going to that goal. And this whole COVID situation hit, and me working from home has actually motivated me to do it more because I'm so used to home workouts. I'm so used to my original P90X setups and everything else that I have a nice space in my garage now, and now I'm attaining those goals. I'm reaching towards those goals. So it's that was for me my turning point. I guess is what I'm trying to say. That was for me my hey, you know what? You're a big fucking guy, but are you happy where you're at? And I'm like, nah, man, I'm not happy. I'm not comfortable. I can lift heavy shit, but I'm over that. I did it.
Yep.
And so that was my like, you know what? I got to get back to my push-ups. I got to get back to my pull-ups. I got to get back to my cardio. I got to get back to my squats and my squat jumps and all that shit. That's what I need to start doing again because that's what I want to be at. I want to be functional.
Yep. Speaking of those, I did a few weeks ago. I did 4-ball push-ups with a 55-pound sandbag on my back.
I saw that.
That was fun.
I hate you for doing that because then now I got to do it again. So I have videos of me doing four. So Justin, for I don't think you know what a 4-ball. I mean, you might, but a 4-ball push-up is where every part of your body, arms and feet, are on medicine balls, and you're doing push-ups. And
nice.
So again, goddamn Tony Horton did that, and of
not
course,
with a sandbag though.
Not with a sandbag, but he introduced me to it because of his workouts, and I'm like, well, this is I'm gonna sound like a jerk, but if this guy his age can do it, I can certainly do it. And of course, I couldn't. I busted my ass in my face a few times. But now the fact that you brought it back, I'm like, God damn it! I have a medicine ball, I have a basketball, I have this. I can work something. I can maneuver it and make it happen. Yeah. But yeah, it's that look what I can do mentality that I like to have versus when it comes to shit like that versus the hey, I just squatted 450 pounds, but I can't make it up my stairs.
Right.
Because I'm winded.
I like to call those things stupid human tricks.
Yes.
It's like it inspires people to do it. The other thing I use a ton is a BOSU because it's great for balance. I'll do single leg stuff on a BOSU with weights. And again, not heavy weights, but it's challenging. It's just fun. And that's the cool thing that I've seen through all the years of training and fitness is no matter what my goal has become, I've figured out a training modality and nutritional plan that's taken me to that goal. And then when it changes, I go to something else and I go to something else and I go to something else. The body is one of the most adaptable things on the planet. And far too many people feel like they're stuck. Well, I'm here. I can't do anything. As long as you got a beating heart in your chest and breath in your lungs, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. Get over the defeatist mindset and get your fucking ass busy. That's how I roll. That's the mindset that I try to instill in people is you can do anything until you're in that box in the ground. You can do something to change your life for the better. You've just got to decide what it is and commit to it and do it. We all just have the same hours in the day. You talked about the COVID thing and things changing. And, the biggest excuse I would get from people is, oh, Mark, I don't have time to work out. And then once they're home, oh, well, I have time now, but it's just excuse. Cut the shit.
I love that.
You're going to do it.
I love that.
We all have the same time. If it's important enough to you, you're going to fit it in your day, no matter what your schedule is.
We're all home stuck. What are you going to do now?
Right.
And what's crazy is that I used to, well, I still do, but I used to wake up at like 4 a.m. to get my shit ready, get myself ready to go. Like, hey, listen, I can't work out in the afternoon because I'm tired from work. Then I got to come home, take care of my kids, everything else. So really my only time available to me is like 5 a.m. So I have to wake up at 4 a.m., get my shit together and do what I got to do. And that's really, back to your point. If you really want to make it happen, you'll find time to make it happen.
Yep. And we all need to find mentors. You're going to need, I always recommend a business mentor and a fitness mentor and for that matter, a spiritual mentor, because all of those things are tied in. If your personal life isn't good or your relationship isn't good, it's going to impact every other aspect of your life. So Always striving to do better. You know, I still listen. I still do personal development on a daily basis. I do audiobooks all the time. I've got a 12.5 hour drive down to South Carolina on Monday. And I've got like 6 books that I downloaded on through Audible on my phone to listen to on the way. Just
You're
because
probably excited.
I am excited. It's pretty.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get the hell out of Illinois for starters. But
Yeah.
you know, it's a great time. I love going on road trips because I get to put good things into my brain instead of being bombarded with the stuff on the news and the death rates and all the other horse shit that they have to say. It's, you know, good things.
Yeah.
Good things go in, good things come out, and when they don't, that's why we need exercise. It's so important, and I try and stress that to people. If you're stressed out, get in and work out for 25 minutes. 25 minutes. Your body's going to produce norepinephrine, dopamine, and serotonin, which are feel-good chemicals. They literally enhance your mood and will make you feel better, and it'll make all the garbage go away for at least a little while, at least a couple hours.
Right.
So
You know what?
to it.
As we're talking, I totally remembered that rig you have in your backyard, which I'm extremely jealous of.
The Castro rig. Yeah.
Bro, it's like the coolest. Justin, if you've never seen it, it's the coolest fucking thing to have in your house.
Yeah, it's a Rogue Castro rig. Rogue Castro rig. I've got a buddy that works concrete that poured the footings for it, and I actually cemented this thing in and built it in my backyard about 8-9 years ago now. So it's got a climbing rope and all kinds of different pull-up stations. I've got a dip bar for it.
That's
and
awesome.
Once I'm able to get people back more regularly and the Illinois weather regulates a little bit, I'll be in the background for the playground beat down of the day. We haven't done that for a while. We're overdue for it. So nothing like some fun rope climbs. Yeah.
You know what? That's one thing that I have yet to accomplish, physical, like fitness wise, is climbing a rope.
It's all legs, man. 80% legs. You learn how to do a J hook and lock your feet in, and you'll be great. I tore the teres major and lat tendons off of my left arm in 2015. Tore them off at the same time, mind you. My surgeon at the time had found 5 other cases that had been repaired in the United States, so he was kind of geeked out when we did the surgery to put stuff back on. But you know, it's been a challenge. I still have trouble doing. You know, I did the Murph a couple weeks ago, and I had to modify it. I had to switch to pull downs just because certain hand positions over my head feels like I'm going to tear those things off again. And you know, but here's the other thing: I could sit and sulk and say, "Oh, fucking woe is me," but that's not who I am, and that's not who I wired. I'll find a way to work around it, and I'll do what I can do, and focus on those things, and not the things that I can't do. And you know, it's just fun. But that Castro rig.
That's a good point. That's one of the things you mentioned, and Justin, I don't know how often you say this, but listening to your body is something that you have to do, and it's not listening to your mind. Your mind will tell you to be lazy. Your mind will tell you to not do your workout or whatever it is, but your body is something different. So, for example, this morning I wanted to work out, but I could feel like my lats and my lower back, I can feel it getting tight. And I was like, oh, if I do something, I know for a fact it's going to cause a problem. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to stick to the jump rope. I'm going to stick to the jump rope, keep it simple, just get the blood flowing, get the body moving, and just do that. That was simply it. Nothing extra, nothing more, just that. And I felt good afterwards, you know? So Justin, I'll give you an opportunity to respond. Like, how often do you have to tell somebody, hey, it's okay to take a step back, but not stop?
Well, that's the whole thing is not stopping. I personally modify all the time. Like the other day, we were supposed to do a combination front squat and then go right to back squat. Shoulder was not feeling it on the front, and my right wrist did not want to. It was just wasn't feeling it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do double back squats and then my regular back squats. You know, so I probably worked even harder than I would have if I had done the front squat. But that's the whole thing is you have to keep going. And you probably said it perfectly. It's not okay to just say, oh, you know, I'm sore. Fuck it. I'm going to go drink, do whatever. You still got to work. You still have to move. You still have to improve every day, you know, business, body, whatever. Every day, we only get one day. And like Mark said earlier, you have no idea what's happening tomorrow. So to me, like, yeah, modify if you need to, change up what you're quote unquote supposed to do, but keep going. You have to always find ways to improve and always get better. I mean, like all the time. And that's one of our challenges that we find when we work with people that maybe are like bartenders or people that are brewers, people that are in hospitality that are very late night workers, surrounded by drinks, surrounded by the shitty food choices at night.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to just kind of say, yeah, fuck it, it's whatever. Well, no, you can't have that mentality. And like you guys mentioned the Murph, like, yeah, the Murph sucks big time. But the whole reason we do the Murph is to honor guys that go through that today. There's guys out there in the military on Monday when we're doing Murph on Monday that are out there for real getting shot up, and having a really bad day. So it doesn't matter how much something hurts sometimes. Let's talk about the Murph right now. If you got to modify it, that's great, but get through it. And you're going to feel like not just the physical win, but that mental win that you get when you do, even if you change it up and modify, when you do get that win, getting through that shitty situation. I mean, to me, that's what makes it all worth it,
Embracing the suck.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll be honest. Yeah. When it comes to the Murph, the one thing that scares the hell out of me is the run. That's the one thing that everything else, I know I'm going to bust my ass doing and I'm going to struggle. But the run is the one thing that scares me every single time. And it to be full transparency, is the one reason why I haven't done it. But now talking to you guys, I really want to get it done. I really want to do it.
Well, full transparency, my right knee's garbage. So I did the miles on an AMT Precor elliptical. So it adapts automatically. It's adaptive motion trainer. So what I put into it, you can do a full stride up to a sprint. I did the first mile, and it's not like most ellipticals. Like you get on an elliptical and you can do a 4-minute mile. It was like a 10-minute mile. And I'm like, this is what I have to do because I know full well when I run, I can't walk for 2 days afterwards.
Wow.
So that's literally what I had to do. I took the path that I was still performing. I was still working. It took me right at an hour to do it. And I was happy with that. And then I see, a couple days ago, Eddie Gallagher did it in 31 minutes. Like, damn, that dude's a stud. But I'm okay because that's my reality. I think if you try and compare yourself with other people,
right,
it doesn't do you any good. If you look at things like if you're scared of running, why is it that you're scared to run? What is it about running that scares you? Just that you don't do it?
I just hate it. That's simply put.
Then don't do it.
Yeah.
Find an alternative, whether it's get on a rower and row for, decide how many meters you're going to go that would translate out to a mile. Get on a rower and do that instead. You're still working. You're still putting in the work and busting your ass.
And what's funny is that go ahead.
First time I did Murph, I had never stepped foot in a CrossFit gym. I had not been running for a long time. I was, just barely doing like bicep curls and chest in the gym for a while. I was not in very good shape at the time. So I did a half Murph. And you got some stink eyes and you got some looks for only doing half, but it still completely kicked my ass. But it still felt great to get through it. And then you get to see, I totally agree. I don't like to compare my physical abilities or anyone's physical abilities to anybody else. I don't care. Everyone's at a different level. You never know what kind of injuries someone's working with. You never know what someone's going through. But me, that first time getting through that half Murph, motivated the hell out of myself to then the next time do the full Murph. So I mean, you just start somewhere, and you can eat a whole elephant, but you have to do it one bite at a time. You can't just shove the whole thing in there. So even if I would suggest, Joe, if you're interested in like getting through and doing the Murph for the first time, maybe even consider a half Murph, because at least you're out there, you're doing it, you're with that like-minded people. You're going to hear the intention of the workout before you start it, why we're even doing it, and you'll probably surprise yourself. You'll be going through and you'll be like, I don't want to fucking stop yet. I want to keep going, and especially if you can find yourself in that quote unquote runner's high, even if you're on the rower or something, like it becomes addictive when you're around everybody. And for me, especially being a Navy guy, thinking about the whole intention of the workout, so anyways, you just got to start somewhere. So if you want to do it with me, man, come up to Power in Motion on Monday with me.
Let's go. I'm down. I'll let you. I want to commit, but I still have to work. So let me get the planning down and what day to get it done.
Awesome.
I'll give you one more quick Murph story. 2 years ago, I've got a guy that trains with me that's 6'5". He's 330 pounds. hasn't run in years. He came with his wife. We had people of all different fitness levels. I think actually that one we had a former Bellator belt holder that showed up.
No shit.
And we decided we're going to do this as a team. We're going to do this as an entire group, so we don't move any faster than the slowest person does. So we broke down into groups. We cheered each other on. The big dude was doing quarter to half range of motion push-ups, had him on resistance bands doing pull downs, and we walked the miles together. We carried an American flag. We did it together. We finished it together. And you want to talk about seeing somebody that was like brought to tears over the ability to accomplish that never ever would have done it by themselves, but because he had a team that was with him, and it didn't matter what the time was. It was well over 2 hours for us to do the whole thing. It was also like 110 degrees without exaggeration when we did it. But it was the best Murph I had ever had in my life, just for that reason, because everybody was together. Nobody cared. It was just about the group. We're going to start this together. We're going to finish this together.
Awesome.
And it was powerful, man.
Oh, it's so powerful, man. That really is amazing. And you made that guy's. You didn't just make his day. You might have made his life. You know, he might have been.
He's been training ever since.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't just get that big that day, like you said. That was a lifetime of him, you know, knowing in his mind that he couldn't do a Murph in his mind, and the fact that you guys adapted, you know, with him and for him and got through it together. I mean, yeah, that probably changed his life. That's huge.
Some days we're reaching the hand out to pick people up, and other days we're getting picked up. And you never know when the pendulum's going to swing the other way. So it's always about doing good things.
Mark, can I say that this entire time we've been talking, you've been dropping nothing but like verbal, everything you've been saying.
Nuggets of gold.
Exactly. Like earlier today, you said you know, the people in the military and the people in armed forces in general, you know, they're the tactical athletes. That was like, oh shit, I would have never put that together. Then you said something about primal anger or something, primal
violence.
Violence. There you go. Like, dude, you've been wordsmithing the entire fucking time. like I'm just like, write that down. he doesn't own that. Man. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, it's all good stuff, man.
No,
most of my stuff I got from somebody else, or I picked up along the way with, you know, different things. It's, you know, some people get knowledge and they hoard it, and I think it's if I can learn something or I can teach something that's going to help another person. That's what it's all about. There's no better feeling. I mean, the reason that I coach and the reason I became a coach, the reason I still coach is I genuinely have a love for helping people. Whether it's a business thing or a mindset thing or a physical thing, it's just life is way too short, man. And we all need to spend more time looking out for other people. By the way, if you're having a shitty day, it is impossible for you to stay focused on yourself if you put your focus on another person.
That's a good one.
That's all I got to say about that.
I'm just going to call you randomly when I record so you can just drop little nuggets of knowledge like this in the pod. Like, this is all it is. This. So, Mark, what's today's phrase of the day?
Nugget you know, du jour.
just drop it. Okay, thanks. Bye. And I'm hanging.
Joe, here's another one.
What's that?
Joe, here's another one. If you need to get your attitude switched up, maybe you're in a grumpy mood or you're just feeling like an asshole towards everybody or whatever, send 3 text messages of appreciation to people that you might have like a beef with or you might have like some unfinished business with or something. Maybe it's something deep. I don't know. Maybe it's like a you know, a dad you haven't talked to in 10 years, or maybe it's a friend that you left on bad terms with or something. But send some sort of message of appreciation to them. And regardless of what their reply is, just doing it, you're going to feel that switch in your head, and it's going to carry forward to everything else you do too.
And I don't want to get, I love that. And I don't want to get too deep into what I'm about to say, but I do the same exact thing with politics. I tell somebody, talk about the person you're bad-mouthing, give 3 good things about them. If you can't give 3 good things about them, then you have no positivity in your life. And all you're just pushing out is negative. So again, I don't want to go too much into politics, but
sure. No,
that's always been my, you know, okay, great, you don't like this person. Tell me 3 good things about them. And if you can't describe it, then yeah, I won't even have a conversation with you. There's no point.
That's interesting.
Negativity breeds like cancer, man.
Yeah.
It
So,
spreads like cancer.
Justin, we talked about you incorporating some combat sports, and you started off with boxing. When can we see you throwing some kicks at the heavy bag?
I mean, I like throwing some kicks.
Because I've done it with Mark.
Yeah.
I've done the sprawl punch kick,
Yeah.
kick, which kicks your dude. To this day,
I
that
love it.
workout just
60 seconds. Yeah.
oh
That was a
that
good one
Something
that day.
about that sound. Yeah. Slamming your leg into that thing. I mean, the sound, it's different. It's a different impact than a fist. It feels great. Yeah, I'm down, man. You want to hold a bag? Let's do it.
let's go, man. I'm down.
Hold a
If
pad.
I'm gonna do the Murph, you gotta do the kicks. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Deal.
Sounds like a fair trade.
That's it. That's a good trade. I like it.
You
I'm
guys
down.
can
Always down.
you guys can Google meet me in on that one.
Ooh,
Perfect.
I'll cheer you on.
there we go. I'm down for that too.
Yeah.
So now that we're in the full swing of, well, I shouldn't say full swing, but we're kind of in the full swing of certain sports. When it comes to MMA and boxing, let's just say for the past year, let's not include recently. Where are you guys at? Are you watching more? Where Justin specifically? Are you focused on MMA at all, or are you just strictly with boxing, or or is it not in your?
It's kind of weird. Sports, professional sports have kind of left my life for the past probably 2 years.
Okay.
Frankly, just because I've been so busy with my business. And I just, there's not enough time in the day for me to do the things that I need to do with my business and then my toddler and stuff. So if I was going to get back into it, which I do still try to keep track, MMA it is for me. Boxing, I like to personally do boxing, whether I'm having a good or a bad day. I just like the physical aspect. But keeping up with boxing hasn't really been my thing unless it's something very interesting, like, when McGregor was fighting Mayweather or something like that, definitely pay attention to. But MMA is definitely more my style, trying to keep up with who's who and what's going on.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I personally am MMA all the way, although
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the quote unquote politics that are happening nowadays with a lot of the MMA that's happening. I don't know if Mark, you can agree with that, but
Yeah, I do.
Dana White has not been my top guy, but I still watch it anyway. So, Mark, I know you're a big MMA guy, so I'm gonna ask a stupid question.
Sure.
MMA or boxing?
Yeah, MMA. I'm an MMA junkie. I quit watching pro boxing a long time ago. And it's not that there's any, I think they have an amazing skill set, but when you look at all the tools that MMA incorporates, it's truly like chess with human pawns. They're always thinking 2-3 moves ahead. And I love the fact that you can be getting your ass kicked 1 second and a guy makes a mistake and next he's caught in a triangle and he's done. I mean, that's just real. And that's where my passion is. That's actually the only pro sport that I watch. Even when, like I quit watching football when they did all the kneeling bullshit for the national anthem, because that means something different to me. That having been military, grown up in a military family, I've planted friends that came home under that flag, so that has a whole different impact to me. And I won't go off on a tirade of what I think professional athletes should do. I think everybody's allowed to speak their mind. Don't do it when you're on the job, like any other thing. But MMA that's kind of always been it for me. That's what I watched. I quit watching baseball back when they went on strike back in the 80s because they wanted $1 trillion a year instead of $1 billion. So that's
You mean the Yankees?
Man.
What do you got against the Yankees being a mass hole? I see how you brought it full circle.
The Red Sox. Yeah, I think I watched an hour of football total last season. So, and if it's on, I don't dislike football. I'm not a huge football fan.
Nice.
If they were punching each other in the face and grappling to get the ball and, arm barring somebody or putting them in an ankle lock so they could get the football, then I'd be much more attentive.
I need Nolan Ryan to the headlock.
Yeah, Joe, you're an MMA guy, yeah?
Yeah, I'm a huge MMA guy. I'm one of those MMA guys that loves the sport so much that when, I can see the bullshit in the background, it pisses me off. And by bullshit, I mean like a lot of the Dana White stuff that he's pulling with, oh, this fighter, because they make a lot of money, we're going to produce them or push them. This fighter, is more popular than this fighter, so we're going to make them shine more than the other one. I mean, it's Amanda Nunes is a great example of that. And, she's one of the best female fighters. She is the best female fighter, actually. I'm not saying one of the. She's the best female fighter in the world, but she won't get the same attention as Ronda Rousey does, is because she doesn't produce that image. And that's just some of the bullshit that I don't like, but it is what it is. It's a private company, it's a private situation or whatever. You can't really, I'm not for anybody getting involved with that, but that's just what it is.
There's a lot of showmanship. Now one fight I would watch. They're trying to put something together with Iron Mike and Holyfield. And they're both in their They're both in their 50s, and I don't know if you follow Mike, his page, but he posted something on his Instagram, and he is still vicious. And I was like, okay, this might be interesting, but they got to find somebody to put him up against that's in the same age bracket. And then when they said Evander, I was like, all right. I just hope it doesn't turn out like Chuck Liddell and Tito,
Oh, no. That was horrible. Although I do give Tito a lot of credit for, as much as he's an asshole as he is, but he is a great fighter in general and coach.
He is. I liked both of them. I've always liked Tito. Since his early days, I've always been a big fan of Tito's, and he's an extremely smart businessman on top of it.
And if you've never listened to Mike Tyson's podcast, I strongly recommend it. That man is extremely intelligent for not finishing high school or in general. Like he's a very intelligent man. Like he speaks a lot of, like he'll just wander into a conversation on his podcast, and it's like listening to your older uncle, whatever it is, and you're just like, yeah, tell me more about that. Like, I want to hear more about what you just talked about, because that's just interesting. So if you've never listened to Hot Boxing, which is pretty much his podcast where he smokes a shit ton of weed, I definitely recommend you guys listen to it. It's 100% one of my favorite podcasts of all time. And I don't listen to Joe Rogan, because he's kind of started. At first he was actually talking about some cool shit. Then he kind of shifted. I don't know if that's time or whatever, but Mike Tyson just randomly brings up like stuff that happened in the 80s and 90s and like just crazy nights that he's had, and you hear him and you just want to like keep listening to more of what he says, because the shit that he talks about is just, nobody else has lived that life.
Yeah.
But Mike Tyson. So you want to hear more about it.
That's pretty rad, man. I will definitely add that to my list. Jocko Willink's one I follow. I do listen to Joe's podcasts. I watch a lot of them too. He posts them all on YouTube. And he has some interesting topics on there. He used
to be very neutral. Then he's gotten so much as, I'm gonna stick to one side, and I'm gonna be neutral. I'm gonna be very like neutralish myself and say one side versus what it is. But he used to be very like, hey, you're wrong. Like, there's no one side. And then as time progressed, he's gotten much.
He actually talked about that in one of his podcasts. And what he said was his mindset used to be, if you don't think like me, then fuck you, you're an idiot. Right. But now as he's gotten older, he's 53, and a lot of his mindset changed to people that have these really off the wall ideas. He truly wants to understand why they think that way. So instead of just waiting for his opportunity to talk, he shuts up and listens to people. And he'll still pick people apart, but he's just a lot more calm and cerebral in the way that he does it now.
Okay.
So, but you know what? That's why there's so many podcasts, because they're not for everybody. Yeah,
and I'm one of them.
Find our favorites. Yeah. And there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people I've talked to that can't stand them.
I don't. It's not that I can't stand him. I still listen to him, and as far as his commentary with the MMA and everything else, it's just that I tuned him out when it comes to his pod. But he's been very successful, where Spotify has picked him up for, what was it, 100 million?
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, he's doing the right things.
# goals.
There you go. Put it on your list.
That's right.
And then find a podcast mentor that can help you roll that way.
Hell yeah, man.
But
All right, guys. It's been fun. We've gone close to about an hour and 20 minutes, give or take.
yeah.
Any final thoughts, Mark? Any final words? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, for your people that are at home and wanting to do something but they're not sure where to start, come up with a goal and then do some research, lock it in, write those goals down because there's something magical that happens when you put pen to paper and make it real. Tell the people around you that love you and care about you what your goals are and ask them to hold you accountable. Because when you have people that do that in your life, no matter what it is, no matter if it's business, relationships, or fitness, you're going to be far more successful when you have people saying, hey, did you do this today? Did you do this today? And they're generally coming at you from a caring and loving perspective, and they want to see you succeed. That's it.
All right, Justin, you got to follow that up. What do you got?
I couldn't go first that time.
You're like, earn your booze. Have a nice day.
I was actually thinking exactly that. But no, Mark, it's a real pleasure speaking with you, man, and hearing your insight into everything. Yeah, I would love to see more of your workouts, and I want to get out to. I think you said you're in Chicago, and get in the backyard with you. That'd be awesome.
2.5 hours south, East Central Illinois, about two hours west of Indianapolis. And you guys are both welcome anytime. We'll throw down, then we'll have a feast and wash it down with some cold ones.
Dude, 450 is right there, dude. 450 North is right there.
Let's do it.
450. So 450 North is a very popular brewery out of Indiana.
Okay.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's that close, let's go.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Hit me up. I'll come meet you. I'll bring
Joe,
some gear. We'll do a
man.
portable one.
Yeah, this is great, bro. It's always a good time talking with you, and appreciate you having me on and having Mark on, and I really, really appreciated Mark's insight, and with his background with the police units and the military and everything, and still being able to sometimes not take life too seriously and realize we don't know how much longer we all have. So yeah, you can relax. You can have some beers. You can take a break. You can go play with the kid instead of, I have to remind myself all the time, I don't need every single minute of the day for business, or whatever your goals are. And yeah, we work super hard in the gym, but also take it easy sometimes, like you said, make time for yourself, other than, just beating yourself up all the time. So anyways, I guess that's my outro. If you're going to drink, just earn it and then have a good time.
Pleasure being on with both of you. Joe, it's been awesome reconnecting
with
you
man.
two, by the way.
Likewise. I definitely want to connect more. I want to talk more. I definitely have an idea for another podcast that I think you two would be perfect for, and that revolves around male toxicity. And I think that's a good conversation with you guys, and we'll talk more about that later on.
Let's do it.
Right.
So thanks, guys. I appreciate you being on. Mark, I appreciate. I know it's late where you're at. I appreciate you connecting. Justin, I know you people. I didn't mean it that way, but Justin, thank you for being here. I know you've been busy all day, and you got the little one in the house. So till next time, guys. Thanks for joining.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Take care.
Be well.
Bye-bye.